You're listening to Side by Side with Kathy Wilson, Niagara's cat and dog team. Kathy, Ralph put down his mug and voiced his most recent concern. Are you certain that it is a good idea to take Hickory with you to church this morning? How will the congregation react to having a dog attending the worship service? Maybe you better give it a bit more time. Hickory watched as her crazy cat pulled thoughts together and smoothed a sharp response into a quiet reply. A lot of people are expecting me to be there with Hickory this morning. If I don't go, there will be a lot of speculation. Are you being fair to Hickory? As it is, she only got here on Friday. She hasn't had a lot of time to settle in. Besides, how do you know that she adheres to the United Church doctrine? She may be a Baptist or an atheist. I wouldn't be at all surprised if she turned out to be Hindu. It really doesn't matter what denomination she supports. When you look into her eyes, it's easy to see that she walks with God. She will be fine. In fact, meeting people is what she loves best. How do you know that she will be able to cross Merritt Street? The traffic could be pretty busy. Ralph, she has been taking me across Lakeshore Boulevard. Merritt Street on Sunday morning will be peanuts for her. I understood Ralph's fears, but I wasn't going to let them hold me back. I called Hickory to my side and held out her harness. She obligingly walked into it, and we buckled up. See you after church, I called as Niagara's cat and dog team stepped out the door. There was most definitely sunshine on my shoulder. Crossing Merritt was a piece of cake as far as Hickory was concerned. She found the intersection, then crossed it when given the instruction to forward. Had Hickory believed that it wasn't safe to cross, then she would have refused the instruction. As we approached the church, I could hear the sound of conversation coming from within the sanctuary. It had been my hope to come early, but the delay with Ralph meant that Hickory and I would be making a grand entrance and not the quiet arrival I had preferred. It sounded as though we had an audience of hundreds, but perhaps I'm exaggerating. My partner took me up the stairs and Reg greeted us at the door. It was lovely to see him again. We moved down the center aisle, people turning in their seats as we passed. I could hear the comments such as, "There's Kathy with her new dog, isn't she beautiful?" I knew that this remark referred to Hickory, who was moving forward, wagging her tail and enjoying the limelight. Wouldn't you know that shy, quiet me would be matched to a prima donna? I could feel Hickory slowing down. She was milking her entrance for all it was worth. I quietly ordered Hickory to find a seat. But my girl seemed determined to take me right to the front of the church. No one wants to sit there, but apparently Hickory did. We were getting closer and closer to the pulpit, and I sure didn't want to sit there. Placing firmness in my voice, "Hickory, find a seat! Now!" She immediately moved into the pew directly behind Lois and her friends. Lois always sat about 4 pews back on the right, so this was closer than I desired, but it could have been a lot worse. "Good girl, Hickory, lie down." My partner settled down, and I was just about ready to congratulate our team on a successful entrance when my thoughts were interrupted. "Good morning, Kathy. I see you have your dog with you this morning. What's her name?" "Hi, Lois, this is Hickory, and she chose me this seat. It's the first time we have been in harness since we got home on Friday." Hickory looked up at Lois and thumped her tail on the floor. My outgoing partner was adding Lois to her new friend list. Then Don was coming up the aisle and smiling at us. "Who's your pal, Kathy?" I introduced him to Hickory, who was delighted to add Don to her list of friends. In the next 10 minutes before the service began, my partner met Stuart, Virginia, Shirley, and Marjorie. All these friendly individuals became Hickory's buddies. In her world, things were divine. The organist started her prelude, and the shuffle of chairs and quiet murmurs told me that the choir had just taken their seats. The minister addressed the congregation, and we were on our way. Hickory moved to a more comfortable position, and I looped her leash over my arm. When the minister announced the first hymn, everyone rose to sing "Morning Has Broken." As I sang, everything seemed so perfect. I failed to notice the fact that while church was filled with song, Hickory chose that time to relocate her position. Once reseated, I could feel the leash pulled tightly on my arm. In fact, it reminded me of the doctor taking my blood pressure, which was no doubt rising at that moment. On looking down to the floor, where my guide should have been lying, I felt the leash taut and leading under the pew in front of me. "Hickory, get back here, blast you!" She did move back a fraction. I could now see her back end quite clearly. Lois turned around and whispered, "Don't worry, Kathy. Hickory is just fine. She decided to rest her head on my purse and is sleeping soundly." I could hear the smile in Lois's voice. Quite clearly, she didn't mind her expensive leather handbag becoming Hickory's pillow. Unfortunately, the sound of Hick's snores was no doubt the envy of many parishioners as the sermon grew longer and longer in length. These snores continued throughout the worship service until my partner's trip to dreamland changed the snores into whispers. I gave the leash a sharp tug and quietly exclaimed, "Hickory, quiet!" Of course, this didn't help at all. In fact, her whimpers became more insistent and her legs began to run. Oh no, she must be chasing that infernal rabbit again. Her legs moved more and more quickly and her whimpers more insistent. She wasn't having any luck catching the rabbit today either. It was great to hear the choir again, and a special treat to be singing the familiar hymns. Still, I well understood the tail wagging relief that surged through my happy canine after the final amen. Lois's purse made a fine pillow, but she needed a bit of excitement now. Hickory guided me back down the aisle, stopping often to chat with my friends. The subject was always Hickory, who glowed with all the praise. The minister welcomed me back, and then we were on the sidewalk heading for home. "Gosh, Hickory, that was sort of anticlimactic, don't you think?" "I know. Let's hit the Dairy Queen. You can meet Demetrius. There's always fun at the DQ. This is actually another story to tell, but let's just say that on this particular Sunday morning, two delighted individuals entered the halls of Demetrius. Hickory had a wagging tail, while Crazy Cat bought a blizzard. I will confess nothing else.